This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
And there are quite a number of reasons why this particular topic is being taken up. First of all, there is, of course, its intrinsic importance. If we know anything about Buddhism at all, if we have even the merest glimmering of understanding about it, we know that Buddhism is essentially, above all else, a way or a path. A way or a path leading to a state of realization of truth, of oneness with reality, if you like, which we call enlightenment, which we call nirvana, which we call the realization of one's own innate Buddha nature. And the Noble Eightfold Path, we may say, the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path, is perhaps the best known, certainly one of the most widely known, of all the formulations, of all the ways of explaining and expounding this way or this path to enlightenment, to nirvana, or to Buddhahood. Moreover, as some, at least, of you will know, the Noble Eightfold Path is the fourth of the four Noble Truths. The Noble Truths of suffering, its cause, its cessation, and then the way leading to the cessation of suffering, which is, of course, this same Noble Eightfold Path. And we find, if we look back to the early days of Buddhism, if we look back to the first occasion when, after his enlightenment, the Buddha opened his mouth and taught, if we look back and recall the first sermon or the first discourse, the discourse of the turning of the wheel of the Dharma in the deer park at Benares, some slides of which we saw in this very place only last Sunday, then we will find that the main content of the Buddha's first discourse, the main content of his first enunciation, of his great spiritual discovery to humanity, is again none else than this Noble Eightfold Path, as part of the Four Noble Truths. And if we follow the whole course of Buddhist history, if we examine school after school and teaching after teaching, whether in India, whether in Tibet or Burma or Thailand or Japan or Ceylon or any other Buddhist country, wherever Buddhism has gone, we find constantly in all these schools, in all these traditions, references again and again to the Four Noble Truths, especially to the Noble Eightfold Path. So if we do not know something about these things, if we don't understand the Four Truths and the Eightfold Path in some detail, then we know very little indeed about Buddhism. Now, if we want to know anything, at least, we should know these things, the Four Noble Truths, and especially the Noble Eightfold Path. And week by week, we shall be dealing with just one step, one anga, to use the correct term, of the Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path. And today, in our first talk in the series, under the heading of the nature of existence, we are dealing with right understanding, which is the first step, the very first step of the Eightfold Path. Now this evening, we've got rather more grounds to cover than we shall be having to cover in future talks. I want to speak principally about three things, or deal principally with three major topics. First of all, I want to say something about the Noble Eightfold Path in general. Then I want to go on to say something about the relationship between right understanding, the first step or first anga of the path, and all the other 7 steps. And lastly, most importantly of all, I want to say something about right understanding itself.